People. People, I'm not doing well. Here we are. Babies. Let me document your hives, if you don't mind. See where I've circled them. Just for a little... I mean, it's not a joke. Okay. How you feeling? Tired? Well, you just take a nappy. People, here's how my last couple of days have gone. I mean, I just want to fall down and have a heart attack. I mean, really, it just doesn't, just cannot catch a break. Alright. So we were supposed to go on vacation to visit some friends, stay at their beach house that they had rented for the weekend. That would have been, you know, we were looking forward to taking that vacation. So to do that, we had to board our dog. And we also, there had been non-stop rains that week. I mean, literally 24 hours a day for like a full week. And there had been a little bit of flooding in our basement. We went down there and there was a whole bunch of mold growth, like white, fluffy, crazy mold like we'd never seen before. And it was really bad. So we had to postpone our trip, and Mr. F had to go get a mold defogger and demold everything, and get a dehumidifier. I mean, crazy, insane mold. I mean, it's just like out of control. Okay, out of nowhere. So that was stressful in and of itself, because obviously we are hoping to eventually sell this house, and we do not want it to be filled with mold, and we also don't want us to be living in a house filled with mold. So I was kind of freaking out and feeling like, oh my god, I can already feel it, it's itching my eyes, you know, like I was totally having a allergic reaction from going down there. Didn't want the kids to get around it. So we delay our thing because of that. We take the dog to the border, you know, go on our vacation and have a really nice time. Totally took our mind off of everything. We were glad we did what we needed to do with the mold ahead of time so that it could be healing itself somewhat while we were gone. And then right the day before we left, Mr. F and I got food poisoning. So the night before we left, he woke up in the night just crazy vomiting, and I did not feel good, but I couldn't tell right then. You know how sometimes when you know someone's sick, if you're like psychosomatically sick, or if you're really sick? And it wasn't until the next morning that I'm like, alright, I'm obviously getting sick. And we had to come home that day, and we had to drive like 4.5 hours. Well, it took us about 6 hours. And we both were just like, I mean, I couldn't really help drive because I was like feeling so out of it that I felt like, you know, it was like the equivalent to driving drunk, and he could be more lucid because he had already thrown it up, but he felt so terrible. I mean, it was just horrible, horrible. And we got home so sick, so totally sick, and it's terrible because both of us were sick, so there's no healthy parent. And but the kids, thank God they didn't have it, but at the same time, because they weren't sick, they still needed food prepared and diapers changed and everything, and I had to do it. It was really hard. It was really hard. And so we did not pick up the dog from the kennel because we were just too sick to even drive over there. And then Mr. F woke up yesterday morning feeling much better, and I said, well, could you just go get the dog because I really still don't feel good, you know. So he went to get the dog and bring him home, and we're still sick, and yesterday I was still really sick. He brings home the dog, and something is just, I just knew something was not right. He was just, I mean, at first I didn't notice it. At first I noticed he had a weird cough. He has had a cough for like a month and a half, and it had been treated and never fully went away, and that isn't related to this. So this was different. There was like a weird kind of hacking thing. I'm like, that is not right. Like, he needs to go to the vet. And I saw him like just lying outside the bathroom watching Mr. F and like breathing. He was standing up and he was just breathing weird. Like it seemed too labored, and then his whole body quivered or something. It was just totally freaked me out. I'm like, that's not right. But Mr. F didn't really notice it, and I'm like, I'm telling you it's not right. And I immediately called the vet and told them, you know, that he had this cough that didn't sound right and that he was not breathing right. And they were, of course, euthanizing a dog, so they couldn't talked to the vet right in that moment, and they called me back like, I don't know, half an hour later and said, bring him right in. And we did. Mr. F did. He got up off the couch, got in the car, got out of the car, walked into the vet, and the vet tech went to, like, check his color, I guess, in his mouth. I don't know why. I've never seen him do that before, but knelt down to check in his mouth, and he died. Right then. Right in her arms. So they tried to resuscitate him, but he was already dead. He had a heart attack. So this is really horrible, right? On top of all of that, so it was sudden and hideous, and I drove down there and held him, and he was dead already, and tried to process that, because obviously people, yes, he was 10 and a half, but he's a Bichon, and they live to be like 17, 18 years. I mean, I really thought he was like at midlife, and he's had no health complications whatsoever. So, I mean, like, outside of regular whatever, he had kennel cough, or, like, he had fleas, whatever, during, off and on at different times, but, like, nothing was wrong with him. And because he had kennel cough, like, 6 weeks ago, he had been to the vet and had a full, workup, and there was nothing wrong with him. They x-rayed him, and he had an enlarged heart, and she said there's nothing we could have done about it, and, he's just had a heart attack and died. Now, people, I mean, I feel terrible, obviously, and I wish he hadn't been at the kennel, like, right up until he died. Like, his last days were in, like, a concrete, kennel. I feel terrible by himself. Probably not making it better, because I'm sure he, like, barked incessantly, so I feel really bad. Also, like all dogs, I mean, well, not all dogs, but when I got him as a puppy, I was single, and he spent the first several years of his life, like, being treated like a human baby. I mean, I loved him like he came out of my womb. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then I had kids, and he became a dog. And then our kids are older, and he's, like, even more of a dog. And because he's old and got annoying habits, I mean, we spent pretty much 24 hours a day annoyed with him and wishing him dead. I mean, I feel bad, but you know how it is. I mean, like, they poop on the floor, you want to kill him, or he, like, rolls in rabbit poop, and then I'm like, oh, God, I just want to kill you. Eats toilet paper out of the toilet and rips up Kleenexes, and, I mean, just a total troublemaker at all times. He steals your food. But because of that, and you may recall, like, last year, before we moved, I thought about getting rid of him. Not killed. Like, if I could find a good home that could love him and give him the kind of attention I used to give him, I thought he'd be happier. I thought maybe he's, like, being so mischievous, and, like, because he wasn't getting enough attention. And that was a really hard decision, but we ended up keeping him, because that was just, obviously I was panicked because we were moving, and I felt like I had too many things on my plate. And then I gotta, realize I did not really want to get rid of him. Moved, came here, and he's, like, done great here. Like, really liked it here better, so much calmer, not doing as much crazy stuff. Anyway, he's dead. So, and the thing I was gonna say is, like, because he's so mischievous and, like, causes so much trouble, I was constantly aware of him, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm home, so I'm home with him 24 hours a day. And he's he's always underfoot, and he's always driving you crazy, but, like, he's always with you, and so now it's, like, really apparent that he's not here. Sorry. But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, every part of my day would revolve around trying to not have him eat my food. So, like, even just breakfast, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to clean it up, Oh, my heart just hurts, people. It just hurts. And I do feel so guilty that, like, he spent the later couple of years not getting the kind of attention I wish we could have given him. But at the same time, I realize he had a pretty good life, and I'm just sad. And then on top of all that, baby comes down with crazy eyes last night, and she's covered in eyes like the size of my foot. Alright, gotta go.